Good evening. How's it going? So I just listened to the earliest Tom Waits album there is. Not in terms of release dates, but of course in terms of when he wrote the songs. The Early Years Volume 1, which most of the songs were written in 1971, but I think this was actually released in the mid-90s, the mid to late 90s, I think. And we open with Going Down Slow, and immediately it's just so evident that he's a very talented singer. The phrasing is absolutely gorgeous, and there's a really subtle vibrato as well that just tells me that he's not, just an ordinary, same repetitive old crooner. He's a really good singer, and he utilizes this quite airy, breathy voice that I've noticed in later years he actually never loses, no matter how his voice evolves. There's always a hint of it there, especially in songs like Johnsburg, Illinois. It reminds me of that kind of vibe a lot. And sonically, we actually open with one of the most interesting songs on the record, with a lovely slide guitar. I'm not sure who's playing, you'll have to tell me, but yeah, whoever was on that instrument, gorgeous playing, and it really adds to the song. Then we move on to Glad That You're Gone, where we get these really nice half-spoken lines, actually, that just act as a perfect contrast to the singing, and delivered beautifully. And in the chorus, he demonstrates a real power in his voice, actually, where his presence that he maintains and evolves throughout his entire career is already on display here. It's a very powerful voice, and it was such a good decision to just keep it with him on guitar, because it really supports his presence and just shows what he's capable of and what he can do just on his own. It's a really remarkable performance, and a heartbreaking falsetto note on the last line. He just goes up the octave and it just hits you perfectly. Yeah, gorgeous, gorgeous singing. Then into one of my personal highlights, we go into Your Late Night Evening Prostitute, which is the first piano number on the record. Lovely, lovely playing. I don't think it's Tom playing, because I don't think he did play the piano for his songs in this kind of very early stage of his career, but maybe if this was a demo or something, it might be him on piano, I'm not quite sure. Either way, it's a lovely accompaniment, and the lyrics and performance just show off his ability to inhibit these characters and make it so believable. He can play anyone, and you just immediately believe him, and you're engrossed in the story he's telling. Yeah, fantastic performance. And then probably we go into my favourite track of the record, Had Me a Girl, which is just classic Tom for me, no matter the era, from any record. It defines him, in my opinion. It's hilarious, it gradually gets more ridiculous with each verse, but at the same time it's completely devastating. It's heartbreaking, so emotional, and quite improvisational in his delivery as well, which I think adds to the sense of humour that's a personal highlight of this record for me, and a theme that goes through most of the songs, and something which I feel becomes rarer in his later records, which is a shame, because he's one of the wittiest men alive, and it's already apparent in these first songs that he wrote. And of course, such gorgeous singing, which is a common theme, again, throughout this album. And the guitar playing really comes to the forefront here. There's a great dynamic contrast where you think it's just going to be, the similar repetitive plucking patterns that we've had throughout the first few songs. And then there's quite a powerful strum on the chorus, and it just really grabs your attention at the perfect time. I feel it's a really, really good decision. Yeah, beautifully played. Then we go into Ice Cream Man, which obviously is a great song, but I'm not going to talk about quite yet because it is, of course, officially released on his debut record, Closing Time. So when I listen to that and we hopefully discuss about it next, I'll talk about that more in depth. But yeah, fantastic song. Then we move into Rocking Chair, closing side one, I believe. Again, where it's just obvious that he's clearly a very talented singer. He delivers these lines effortlessly. Sorry, effortlessly, if I can get my words out. But it's quite technical. Like, he's doing so many wide pitch shifts that must be incredibly difficult, but he's just silky smooth and yeah, makes it look easy. And also, it's just a beautifully simple vibe with just him on guitar. It just immerses me in the setting as if he's plucking away, sat in a rocking chair. And the whistling is a fantastic addition that, on any other song can be a bit corny, but with this, it just works. And again, shows off how well he can just create the perfect atmosphere in an instant with his words and with his voice and with such simple instrumentation. Yeah, it's just so obvious that he's a fantastic singer-songwriter already. It's remarkable at how mature he is in his songwriting this early on. Then we move on to a couple more songs that are officially released on Closing Time, of Virginia Avenue and Midnight Lullaby. But then we move on to an exclusive to this record, When You Ain't Got Nobody, which is absolutely hilarious. I love this song. If you take it too seriously, it's, I can see why people might not like it, but for me, it's just fantastically funny, and his delivery is golden. I just have to laugh at this. It's fantastic. Then we go into Little Trip to Heaven, again, a Closing Time number, so I'll just gloss over that here. And then the final three songs, which are Frank's song, which is fantastically funny again, beautifully simple, but we kind of get another bit of spoken word in the middle verse, where he talks about his friend Frank. It's just the perfect vibe, and again, the humour on this album is second to none. I love it, and again, I wish he embraced it more in his later records, perhaps, but, I'm not one to complain. He's my favourite artist of all time. He always will be. So, to have this in his discography is a very valued addition, just so we can savour this aspect of his songwriting even more. Then another personal highlight, Looks Like I'm Up Shit Creek Again, where we get another fantastic delivery. He's just so on point on this record for songs that he never even intended to release, but he just pours his heart and soul into it. It's so believable and convincing. It just pulls at your heartstrings in the best way possible. And one of the best demonstrations of his lyricism, I feel, on this record. Having typed out all these songs individually on my typewriter and made a reading of them, I can really appreciate all these fantastic lyrics now. And this is certainly one of my favourites on this record. And then we close with So Long I'll See Ya, where we get a new singing style. It's just a really fun performance, again, one of those songs where I feel like if you take it too seriously, you might not enjoy it, which is fair enough. You're entitled to your opinion. I'm not going to berate you for that, It's all subjective, but for me, it's just a really fun performance, and seeing Tom so relaxed is always a pleasure for me. Like, seeing him just enjoy himself results in me enjoying myself, because it's just a pleasure to listen to. as is this entire record. So if you've not heard it before, if you want to look into Tom before his voice became more like the Tom Waits that we all know, or if if you're a die-hard Tom Waits fan and you've just not listened to this volume in a while, then I urge you to go back to it and listen, because it's a really joyous listen. I loved every minute of it. So, yeah, that's this record. I will hopefully talk to you about Volume 2 before long. Thank you for listening. I hope you're doing well, and yeah, enjoy the rest of your night. I'll speak to you soon. Goodbye.